This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
That's 2 nights in a row I've had issues. Last night my computer froze on me. Tonight it was OBS. Good evening. Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. I wouldn't know what to do if Warlord didn't tell me to turn on the on-stream button. God damn it. I'm not high enough for this. That is what she said. My Lord, good evening. Warlord, welcome in. It's the Lords. It's the Battle of the Lords in the chat. You guys are going to lord it out. I was going to stream to no one. I was just going to do the show. We weren't even going to be on stream. Not high enough. What in the fuck is going on with my microphone here? I give up. Like it's been a rough day. It hasn't. I'm sorry. Like I got up this morning, did some work, smoked some pot, and it was really cold. It got cold all of a sudden. I didn't know it was going to get cold. I didn't know that we were getting battered with another winter storm. That happened. Washington, D.C. also was supposed to vote on Kash Patel tonight. Or Tulsi Gabbard, one or the other they were supposed to vote on. Got pushed back to tomorrow. I think it was Tulsi. Got pushed back to tomorrow. It's supposed to be at midnight tonight. Because there's going to be a winter storm in Washington, D.C. Climate change, indeed. Not high enough for this ship. So now that it's cold, I ain't going to want to go to the pot store tomorrow. Because I ain't going to want to walk down the street. Smokey! Try and do something here. But then again, if I don't have any pot, I'll probably will walk down the street to the pot store. No, we've got cold weather right now. It got cold. I got the blanket out again. Because that was the thing. It was just fine. See, that's the thing, my lord. Is like, she had her granddaughter over the weekend. And then she works all night tonight and yesterday. So, like, I don't really want to impose on her. Unless she's out and she wants some, then she can come get me. You know, that kind of thing. I'll probably talk to her tonight. But like I don't want to be like, hey, you know, come run me around on you've got 2 days off before you got to pull 3 all-nighters. It all depends. If she's out or if she wants me to get her some, then like totally like that would work. I don't even think I have a meme. I was so rushed. I don't have a meme. I don't think I have anything ready. I think I already used that one. Well, let me go to the OC Premium meme group that I'm in. Oh, we've moved on from Super Bowl memes to Valentine's memes. Apparently, we're getting in Valentine's mode. See if I can find us a good one here. Okay, this, because I try to be topical. I try to find things that are topical to what we're going to talk about here on the show. This one is topical. This piece of business we're going to be doing. Corbett needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. Well, my lord, like, if you know, I'm actually not. So when I moved different cities, but I'm still like the same distance from her. Mary Zoo, good evening. And I'm where the pot stores are, because before she used to come and get me, and then we would drive over here to the legal state. He is no Darth Vader. Trump is no, that's Palpatine, right? Trump is no, well, maybe. I don't care, you bird flu having motherfucker. Come into my chat, act like you're just talking to me and there's other people. Battle of Possum has the bird flu. Pray for him, he's gonna die. What, Palpatine? That's the ghoulish dude, right? BB girl, good evening. Welcome in. Nobody gives a shit. Don't come in here and complain to people. Nobody wants to listen to you complain, you son of a bitch. That's my best friend, by the way. That's just the way we talk to each other. If I wasn't telling him, you know, like, fuck you and go fuck yourself and shit, like, you know, he'd think something was wrong. Oh, God. Over 300 grand has been raised for our boy, Luigi Mangione. Donated by fans for his legal defense. DJ Dub, good evening. I think people are sending a message. I think this is going to be the trial of a fucking century. I don't think he gets convicted. Tell all your friends about jury nullification. A taco truck in Memphis was raided by ICE agents who didn't show any ID. Just forced themselves. They were in hoodies. We've got the shocking video, but they were apparently feds. It's all happening while Democrats are being questioned if they are ready and able to meet the current moment and the possible constitutional crisis that we see ourselves in, as Trump says he won't enforce bribery laws. We've got the scoop on why Brittany Mahomes was told to stay away from Taylor Swift, and apparently it came from Donald Trump. We're going to find out why presidents didn't go to the Super Bowl before Trump. It's actually a pretty good reason. What do you guys think about renaming Greenland to Red, White, and Blue Land? Republican representative putting forth a bill to purchase and rename Greenland Red, White, and Blue Land. Anonymously, Holiday, good evening. CNN is forced to refer to Elon Musk as Harry Balls. We've got battling senators. Bernie is going to tell you why you should be, again, Elon Musk. Senator Kennedy going to tell you why you should be for Elon Musk. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening, Ducky, Shelley. Government is a clown car indeed. One of the speaking of clown cars, one of the things that I noticed when I went back to watch the Kendrick Lamar performance. Julie, light one up, tip one back. Are you ready? I went back and watched the Kendrick Lamar performance. So many people get out of that car. So I'm assuming it wasn't a real car and it had like some kind of stage door in it. Yeah, hot mess indeed. Question marks. Good evening. You were in time to find out what that news be doing. Energy Flow, welcome in. Is Battle of Possum still here? I wasn't done talking shit. You want me to kick your ass after the show? Should we buy Mortal Kombat? Is it even still on sale? Oh shit, it's 12 after. I made the promise to be doing the news by the time we got to 10 after. You gotta keep me in line, but I was a little late coming on. I was having some tech issues. Let's hear from the president. AC Real. I love it. Yeah, MK1's still on sale. Should I get it? Should I pick it up? Whoa, I noticed you redeemed the bandana color last night, and I didn't give you the chance. What do you have a color? Pick the color. I've got them all. Oh, well, I don't like pain. I'm not into that. Took me a second to even know what you were talking about. And I was like, oh. You think I've been a naughty little boy, eh? I think it's the whole like gold edition is on sale for like $32 or maybe $29.99 or something like that. Julie, did you pick a bandana color? What do you want me to switch to? I've got pink, gold, and orange. I've got pink, gold, and orange handy. If you pick any other color, I might have to pull out my suitcase and get my bandanas. But I've got them all. I've got a tie-dye one. I haven't had the tie-dye one on in a while. You should pick that one. You should tell me to put the tie-dye one on. You can tell me the on-screen graphic thing. You can tell me, to give people a titty slap.
A titty slap! What the?
Come on now.
Purple it is. I gotta go dig it out. So we'll go ahead and get started with this clip. President Elon Musk took questions from reporters from the Oval Office.
This is.
Oh no, I'm gonna go get it.
He's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
And he's got this. Check out this cool chain he's got.
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else. We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's Doge, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I say we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to,
I don't believe you.
and it seems hard to believe.
The shit you said you found is just complete nonsense.
Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious. I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Wow, Zong, good evening.
At a high level, if you say what is the goal of Doge and I think
I'm not at a high enough level.
of presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well,
Now, is this Grimes' kid?
if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you sorry. So, tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If if there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, or if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop.
Who elected you, motherfucker?
Elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large, unelected bureaucracy.
As opposed to the world's richest man standing behind the president.
Are in the federal bureaucracy. But you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people.
Oh yeah, DJ Dub. I've heard that like he appears with the kid only because like it irritates Grimes.
That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you asked the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have?
What do you mean? What happened to Elon's face? It's always been that punchable.
Fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it's not. It does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's
country can't go bankrupt.
That the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense. But if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country.
I have a feeling they are going to bankrupt the country.
For us to reduce the federal expenses, it's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country. And
as I pointed out with the USAID,
things to its citizens and not simply be servicing.
That's like a fucking subsidy program to farmers.
Your team has found some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right,
etc.
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have it.
He's a blithering idiot.
A few $100,000, but somehow managed to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from.
Are you talking about like a feudal zone?
In which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps.
They were talking about the corporate autonomous zones on the Majority Report the other day, weren't they? They had a guest on talking about it. But I think I had it on in the background when I was doing some other kind of work. What does that mean exactly? Is that a company town? A feudal fiefdom? You owe me a Coke, Mary Sue. I'm against it. I am so I feel like we're speed running into a techno dystopia, which I would have said wasn't possible just a few years ago. But my God, it happened quickly, didn't it?
But there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the.
Well, Tesla's trying to do something like that outside of Austin, aren't they?
We just. If you look at, say Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place, that are in place.
Good evening, Princess Kimberly.
Such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code.
This was a couple of hours ago in the Oval Office.
And that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made.
I don't believe him for a second.
A do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional.
This man doesn't know shit about the things that he supposedly knows about.
It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking
And now he's coming in acting like he knows about the government. This is worrying to me.
controls that should be present that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization. So
It is admirable to punch Nazis.
So if people receive money,
Not just okay.
complain, obviously, but if people don't receive money, they do complain, and the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So. Then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all...
Yes, I take you at face value. The fraudsters are the ones that scream the loudest and the fastest. That's you guys. You guys are the ones screaming fraud. You're the fraudsters.
the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay.
I don't trust you to make that judgment.
Need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical, I think. It's really just...
Send this motherfucker to Guantanamo.
...to these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not,
It's yet another example. We didn't prosecute this motherfucker, and look what happened.
you know, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security.
Presidents need to be locked up when they break the law.
Now, do you know
And if you don't do it, you get fucking autocrats.
they should be on the Guinness Book of World Records? They're missing out. So, you know, that's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, you know, one of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this, obviously there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, well, if people can retire, you know, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments and everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told, no, the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy?
It sounds crazy because I guarantee you it's not true.
If we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, you know, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think, you know, that's an example. Like, at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity, is we get people to shift from roles that
I am horrified.
productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal.
He's saying only 10,000 people can retire in a month.
So, are people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk,
What?
including a lot of Democrats,
I have detractors?
you do, sir,
I don't believe it.
say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be
This
no.
motherfucker spent how many hundreds of millions of dollars?
The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what.
Flash, good evening.
And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for. But in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for, and that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts.
Oh yeah, Trump's victory was one of like the
Does that
smallest
mean you are, in
victories.
fact, policing yourself.
I think only Bush over Kerry was smaller.
There's accountability and transparency.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization.
What are you talking about?
So, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic.
Does he post on Twitter?
What I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payments.
What up, ambivalent bastard?
Organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract with some company of mine.
Well, in that case, light one up, tip one back.
Interest when it comes to you yourself. For instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, that seems like maybe that's.
How is it fully public when you have prevented the lawmakers from going in and even seeing what you're doing? What is public about it exactly?
There's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately.
Including you yourself?
Yes. But transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting.
That's a really good question. How has Trump stayed silent?
But transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment.
Speak of the devil.
In that area, if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watch that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the.
If you don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this, then why'd you pick Elon?
Ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up or certainly.
Seriously, it's fascinating, isn't it, bastard?
Talking about it's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist.
I had to go unblock Elon on Twitter because I need Elon references and to check his Twitter account for stories and shit. Oh, it's pissed me off because I have had him blocked the entire time I have been on Twitter. I have never been on the Elon bandwagon. I've known he was a fraud from the moment I laid eyes on him. Clinically, good evening.
wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? And why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very
corrupt right now.
It's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months, and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's
I doubt it.
Now, normally, if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. It's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years, They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that, and even much worse than that, actually.
I mean, good on that dude, bank error in his favor.
Could be
but I doubt that
It's
happened.
made on both sides, where the guy gets the money, he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
Tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts, so he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected.
This is the most transactional president we've ever had. Every one of his cabinet positions is a kickback.
And I hope that
Elon standing in that office is a fucking kickback.
to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge, and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings. And he wants us to stop looking.
His hands are sickly looking.
I mean, we've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million.
They're also very small.
$59 million because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants, all illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Mr. Mustang, can I ask you a question?
Well, if I may sort of just going for the president's comments.
I feel like we did that story about the hotel.
What are the two ingredients that are really necessary?
It was some sort of like pilot program that they ended.
From $2 trillion to $1 trillion. And it's really two things.
And the money wasn't all going to the hotel. Like they were giving.
And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit.
A small group of migrants.
And
like a
to be
pittance.
scrutinized and get a daily proctology.
And the ability to work, and it was helping them get on their feet. It was like a successful program.
It's not like I think I can get away.
Hey, we did away with it.
Scrutinized nonstop. But with the support of the president, we can.
Michael,
we can cut
good evening, and you are correct.
From $2 trillion
They
to
found $1 trillion
And then
of
with,
spending they want to cut.
Because there's a lot of sort of regulations that.
Not any of Elon's contracts.
We need to free the builders of America to build, and if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%, and that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you can cut.
We've had 3% economic growth under Biden.
Between now and next year,
Kid's picking his nose.
There's no inflation at 26, and if the government is not.
He thinks there's going to be no inflation.
Interest costs decline, so everyone's the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario.
And that's never going to happen, you dipshit.
I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all their debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
It's never going to happen.
We had no idea we were going to find this much. And it's open. It's not like complicated. It's
not that
simple stuff.
complicated.
It's
just
like
a lot of work.
We
Yeah.
can't believe it. A lot of work, a lot of smart people involved. Very, very smart people. But you're talking about anywhere, maybe 500 billion.
Libertad, good evening. It is a Muppet show. No, the Muppets were clever.
Normally, when you're looking at something, you'll find you're looking for 1 out of 100. Here, you're almost reversing it.
It's an insult to the Muppets.
Yeah.
And you can look at the title and you say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And the public gets it. You know, the public gets it. You've seen the polls. The public is saying, why are we paying?
I got a poll for you.
For years, this has gone on.
President Trump,
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, go ahead.
Senator Rand Paul today said that DOJ cuts will ultimately need a vote in Congress. Do you agree with that? Is that the
I
plan?
really don't know. I know this. We're finding tremendous fraud and tremendous abuse. If I need,
I kind of was expecting Joe Rogan to be the press secretary.
it's fine with me. I think we'll get the vote, although there'll be some people that wouldn't vote. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud?
SNL this weekend is actually Sunday, by the way.
Why would that happen? Why?
I don't think there's a Saturday night episode.
If we do need a vote, I think we'd get a very.
T-minus, good evening.
Because we have a track record now. We've already found
This Sunday is the 50th anniversary episode
incompetence and corruption.
on Sunday night at 8 o'clock.
If a judge does block one of
Well,
your...
I'm not disciplined enough to stay on episode. I thought we were on a message.
Will you comply?
I started talking about Saturday Night Live.
Then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum. And it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. You know, if a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So
This guy is super crooked.
abide by the courts, always abide by them, and we'll appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge, if you go into a judge and you show him, here's a corrupt situation, we have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this corrupt check to a person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, if I can add to that, what we're finding is that a bunch of the fraud is not even going to Americans. So I think we can.
Wait, what did Bastard say that got you guys all worked up?
But a bunch of the fraud rings that are operating in the United States and taking advantage of the federal government, especially in the entitlements programs, are actually foreign fraud rings. They're operating in other countries and actually exporting money to other countries.
Multiple people have been, why is he so orange?
Mr. Musk, you
And
said,
this is big numbers. Talk about 100.
I did not increase the color or anything.
Money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X
Yeah.
that an example of the fraud that you have cited,
I didn't up the saturation.
$1 of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, it apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements
This is Stephen Miller.
are correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So
Some of the things that he says will be incorrect.
Was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, it apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. If I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about.
Why?
Almost never condoms, if you think about it. But if it
Wait a minute. This is the pro have a lot of kids guy. He's probably anti-condom.
instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
Mr. Musk, can you talk a little bit about how closely you're working with agency heads as you're directing these cuts? Do they have how much input do agency heads have when you're making these decisions?
Yeah, we work closely with the agency heads, so there are sort of checks in place. So it's not just us just going in and doing things willy-nilly. It's in
No?
agency heads, and I check frequently with the president to make sure that this is what the president wants to have happen. So we talk almost every day, and I double check things to make sure, is this something, Mr. President, you want us to do this? Then we'll do it.
USAI.
I think he's full of shit. Bastard, I didn't catch the comments. Everybody's cool. We're all cool. We're all Fonzies. It's all good. But we do need to do, if we need to do Schoolhouse Rock, 3, it's a magic number. Yeah, it is. Oh, do not let me sing. White House has apparently fired the USAID inspector who issued a damning report on Trump's funding freeze. That's breaking story. Associated Press was barred from the Oval Office for not using Gulf of America. So the event we just watched with Elon's kid, the agency says its reporter wasn't allowed into the event in an effort to punish the style guide on upholding the use of Gulf of Mexico. The Associated Press said it was barred from sending a reporter to Tuesday's Oval Office executive order signing in an effort to punish the agency for its style guide on upholding the use of the name of the Gulf of Mexico, in lieu of Donald Trump's preferred name for the geographic landmark as the Gulf of America. AP's executive editor, they're all fucking wild in here, bastard, I agree. Everybody gets titty slaps.
A titty slap! Give me those titties,
Come on now.
I didn't see the comment you guys are talking about. The comment's been flying by tonight. I haven't seen a lot of them, so my apologies. Everybody like, we're cool. We want Bastard to hang out and learn something. If Bastard is a chud, we want to unchudify him. But I didn't get that vibe, Bastard. You're welcome here. Don't let the chat. Everybody's emotions are running high. Feelings are on edge. Everyone's on edge. Feelings are whatever feelings are. I'm gonna try to calm it down a little bit. Let's bring down the temperature. What is the troll patrol? And we're all rabid to kind of troll people. We don't get enough right wingers coming in here wanting us to. I think some of the people in the chat, they're sadists. They want to what clinically? What'd I do this time? I love you, motherfucker. Breathing exercises, taking bong toks. I only have one bowl left. I don't want to smoke it out of a bong. So I don't think I'll be taking bong rips. But I do think I'll be going to the... Oh, just a general fuck you. Okay, well, that's how you know we're friends. Just a general fuck you. I love it. The AP's executive editor, Julie Pay, said in a statement, as a global news organization, oh, I love you, Mr. Elwood. Good evening, my friend. As a global news organization, the Associated Press informs billions of people around the world every day with factual, nonpartisan journalism. Today, we were informed by the White House that if the AP did not align its editorial standards with President Donald Trump's executive order renaming the Gulf of Mexico, AP would be barred from accessing an event in the Oval Office. This afternoon, AP's reporter was blocked from attending an executive order signing. It is alarming that the Trump administration would punish the AP for its independent journalism. Yeah, exactly, bastard. You could have been saying something and it be, facetious. And they just misread it. We're all good. Oh, thank you for calling me a handsome-looking hippie. I owe Julie the purple bandana with the red shirt. Looks really nice. Purple and red go good together. Hell yeah, DJ Dub, throwing out the gift sub to Bastard. Welcome in. Thank you for being a freaking follower, Bastard. CNN had to call Elon Musk hairy balls.
Now, the disruptor-in-chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Hairy Balls, tweeted this morning, "Democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge." And as
I don't know what a judicial coup is.
apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Hairy Balls, tweeted this morning, "Democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge." And
You're not a judge. You know nothing about the law or judges. You're not a good judge of character. If you might have been excited to vote for J.D. Vance in 2028, perhaps hold your horses on that one. Trump doesn't view J.D. Vance as his successor. President Donald Trump refused to anoint Vice President J.D. Vance as his successor and preferred choice for the 2028 Republican presidential nomination. Trump, who was in the early weeks of his second and final White House term, was asked during a Fox News Super Bowl Sunday interview whether he viewed Vance as his successor. It's a tongue twister. No, but he's very capable, Trump said. I think you have a lot of very capable people. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early. We're just starting. I mean, I assume whoever Peter Thiel, I think Peter Thiel is ultimately the one pulling the strings on this administration. Is there going to be a fight between Thiel and Musk? Is MAGA going to be skewed between the tech bros and the fascists? Maynard. Mr. Maynard. He said, fuck me. Come on, Bubby. This is Maynard James Kitten. And boy, is he exactly like his namesake. Hold on, I'll get him. Come on, dude. Come on, bud. Say something for him. He is one of the moodiest cats I've ever encountered. He doesn't like to be touched. DJ Dub, thank you, my friend, for throwing out the gift sub. Doesn't like to be touched, but has the softest belly. Brittany Mahomes was instructed to keep a distance from Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. President Donald Trump was the real reason why Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes were not pictured together. Damn, Dub. Damn, Dub. That's what the Dub D stands for. Damn. They were not pictured together on Sunday night Super Bowl, according to sources who said it would have led to a PR nightmare. Now, sources have exclusively revealed to thedailymail.com that Britney had been instructed to stay away from Taylor's section over concerns about potential remarks President Trump could make. Britney kept her distance from Taylor because of Trump attending the game. She was instructed to do so. DJ Dub is the king, throwing out subs. There's a reason presidents didn't go to the Super Bowl before. President Donald Trump became the first president to attend the Super Bowl over the weekend, but that doesn't mean he's the first president who ever wanted to. It was a podcast plug for Pod Save America. Former President Barack Obama's aides turned podcasters revealed the reasons their boss never took them to star-studded sporting events. I watched this and thought, why couldn't we have gone to stuff? Every time Obama wanted to do something cool, we were told it was a security risk or it was going to inconvenience people. He also pointed out that when former President and First Lady Michelle Obama left Washington to see a Broadway play early in Obama's first term, conservative pundits went insane for weeks, accusing them of being out of touch and complaining that they'd spent taxpayer money. Time magazine listed the trip as one of Obama's top 10 all-time backfires, with some estimates putting the price tag at about $72,000. On Sunday, Trump flew from Mar-a-Lago in Florida to New Orleans to watch the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs at the Superdome. En route, he held a press conference. According to Representative Virginia Fox, it cost $177,000 per hour to operate Air Force One. That would put Trump's round trip at around $800,000. At least 2 other aircraft also fly along Air Force One. And then there's the cost of securing huge events like the Super Bowl. Fox News, which led the frivolous spending charge against Obama, aired the game and interviewed Trump before it. Sounds like something Doe should look into. But hey, you know, they're rooting out corruption by doing things like loosening bribery laws. Trump loosens enforcement of U.S. law banning bribery of foreign officials. U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday signed an executive order directing the Justice Department to pause prosecution of Americans accused of bribing foreign government officials while trying to win or retain business in their countries. They're anti-corruption. A Republican congressperson is bound to be a congressman. Yep. Representative Buddy Carter has unveiled a bill that would empower Trump to acquire Greenland and then rename it Red, White, and Blue Land. Oh, he looks like a Buddy Carter. The representative from Georgia unveiled legislation on Monday to empower Trump to enter into negotiations to purchase or otherwise acquire Greenland and to rename the icy island Red, White, and Blue Land. America is back. Will soon be bigger than ever with the addition of Red, White, and Blue Land.
Come on, man.
Andy Kim was on with PBS. The representative was asked about if the Democrats are prepared for the constitutional crisis. I'm sorry, Senator Andy Kim now. That's right. He's now the senator from New Jersey, just winning election.
With Democrats in the minority, they're
he took Menendez's seat
to serve as a check on Republican power in Congress and at the White House. Andy Kim.
Oh shit, we're close to 69 subs.
After spending his entire working life in government service at USAID, the U.S. State Department, the National Security Council, and the U.S. House. This weekend, the New Jersey Democrat declared the country to be on the cusp of a constitutional crisis. He joins us now from Capitol Hill. Senator Kim, welcome to the News Hour. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So what does it mean to you to be on the cusp of a constitutional crisis? What does that mean?
Well, it means that right now we're already in a place where the Trump administration is engaged in lawless activity through unilateral executive branch action rather than coming through Congress. We see the efforts of firing or putting on administrative leave employees that are now, there are lawsuits there. And one thing that I'm particularly concerned about is that I'm not sure that this executive branch, this administration, will follow the law even when given a court order to do so, given that Vice President statements about how they don't feel like they need to follow through with the orders of these judges. That's deeply alarming. That actually would be a full-blown constitutional crisis then.
So when it comes to the
I mean, one of the hallmarks of fascism is appeals to nationalism, so it fits right into the playbook. I mean, it's amazing how fast we're going through this.
administration ignoring court orders or acting outside the Constitution or usurping some congressional powers as well. The question the Democrats get asked a lot is what can you do, right? And here exactly is what House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries had to say on that on Friday. Take a listen.
They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
So, Senator Kim, what's the answer to that question? What
Pussy.
do Democrats have?
Immediately after the election.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Pussies are useful.
Met with states attorney generals in the Capitol. We talked through a broader strategy, talked through what steps that they would plan to take when it comes to legislation, brainstorm some of the different things that we expected to see, given the research we've done on Project 2025, which has become their playbook, and so far they are having great effect. For instance, the first Trump administration, they lost 80% of their cases. As you mentioned, I worked at USAID. I have a lot of colleagues still there from my old days. We were able to get inside information about what is happening. We're feeding that into our investigative work, our oversight work, and then when it comes to legislation, we've seen in the past how poorly the Republicans, especially in the House of Representatives, are at actually governing. I mean, I've seen Speaker Mike Johnson work in person, and I'll tell you, it's not
pretty.
Impressive. They've needed Democrats, honestly, for a lot of legislation to be able to get passed. And those are the points that we're going to continue to push on going forward.
So the court battles obviously will take a while to play out, and I hear you on that front. But in terms of what Democrats can do, I mean, how far are you willing to go? You mentioned maybe not working with Republicans as much to help pass legislation. Are you willing to shut down the government to make your point?
Well, look, the Republicans are the ones that control whether or not the government shuts down. And I think that was the point that Hakeem, the leader Jeffries, wanted to get across, is when they control the White House and that the majorities in both the Senate and the House, that's on them. Now, as I've said, they have not been able to pass any continuing resolution or budget on their own over the last 2 years.
So to that point, you could help force a shutdown. Are Democrats willing to do that?
No, look, it's not about us forcing a shutdown. It's about whether or not they are actually engaged in a bipartisan effort to be able to move forward. If we're going to do this, we need to make sure that we have assurances that we're not going to see the continued actions like what we're seeing with Elon Musk, these funding freezes. That's what the American people deserve, and that's what they want. I just did a town hall last night, over 1,000 people on it, and people were just absolutely horrified about these actions that are happening. I worked through multiple government shutdowns. It's the last thing that we want. I don't want to see a shutdown. But what we're seeing right now is Trump is already trying to shut down the government. He's already trying to dismantle it. And that's what the American people need to see, just the lawlessness that is involved in that type of unilateral action.
On the USAID issue, we've seen some Democratic lawmakers and a few federal workers here outside the building protesting that.
Good evening.
There are some senior Democrats, though, who say this is exactly the fight that President Trump wants. David Axelrod said, when you talk about cuts, the first thing people say is cut foreign aid. Rahm Emanuel said, while I do care about USAID as a former ambassador, that's not the hill that I'm going to die on. I guess the question is, are Democrats taking the bait from Trump on this?
No, look, I think it's important that we push back across the board. First of all, when it comes to USAID, we set the record straight. We say it's 0.5% of our government budget. But there's a reason why USAID is in the Reagan.
Is it even that much?
President Reagan was a strong supporter of development and humanitarian assistance being part of our tools alongside diplomacy and the military. In fact, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator, was a strong supporter, said that USAID is not charity, that this is a part of our national interest and our national security. So that's the kind of information the American people need to hear about this. I am pushing forward on that because I used to work there. Other Democratic leaders will lean in on whether it's CFPB, FEMA, Department of Education, other aspects. Each of us can be able to engage and tell that story to the American people.
Are you confident that the American people are where you are on this issue, though, because as I said, we didn't see a lot of protests to USAID essentially being shut down. We've seen ramping up of immigration arrests, and we haven't seen...
Even PBS is like, what the fuck are you going to do?
There hasn't been much of a response either, even to the pardoning of January 6th rioters, which was not popular when people were asked about it in polls, but was done anyway. So do you think that the American people are seeing these issues the same way that you are?
I think they are more and more so. The average American, when they hear about cuts to government spending, they'll say, okay, that sounds reasonable. But when you actually explain what is behind that, when the funding freezes will affect Meals on Wheels for seniors that are hungry and food insecure, or about childcare for Head Start, those are specific things where the American people say, no, that's not what we're on board with.
Democratic.
That's what they're cutting. The Senate Democrats held a press conference. Josephus, good evening. I'm sorry, this is the House Democrats holding a press conference. This is Representative Pete Aguilar and Representative Ted Lieu.
I wanted to follow up with Vice Chair on the judicial opinions that he mentioned. I'm curious to know if House Democrats are confident that the Trump administration will comply with these orders that are coming from judges. There have been some tweets, there have been some comments that have come from President Trump himself that suggest that they feel as though they don't have to follow orders that they don't like from judges, no matter who appoints them. So I'm curious how you all are looking at this. Are you all planning for the worst case scenario of the Trump administration to find some of these orders, or do you believe that the judicial system will hold up against some of this defiance?
We understand very clearly what's in front of us, but this is very consistent. The Republican Party is no longer a party of limited government and spending less resources and local control. The Republican Party stands for, we trust the answer if it agrees, if it is decided in our favor. We saw this with the elections. We continue to see it. Donald Trump still could not say that the 2020 election was fair this weekend in an interview. They trust the election results when they win. They trust the court decision when they win. When they do not win, they want to burn it all down. That's the consistent theme of where the Republican Party is right now. So it's incredibly, frustrating, but that's where we are, and we understand very clearly the moment that we're in and the danger that they pose ahead with respect to honoring what the courts have decided. I'll yield to the vice chair who's on.
You ain't wrong on that.
Here.
Every president, including Donald Trump in his first term, complied with court orders. If this
but exactly, what are you going to do about it?
Eliminating entire judicial branch, because why even have judges if you're not going to follow their court orders? So we expect this administration to follow the court orders. And I do note that there was a recent case where the judge had said, hey, look, I issued an injunction on the funding freeze. It appears that you're not following it. What the administration came in and said is that, well, you issued under this one executive order, but not this other one. The administration did not say, we don't think you have the authority to do any of this. That's not what the administration said. And then what J.D. Vance said was just clearly insane. If he really wants to eliminate the third branch of government, I think there's going to be enormous pushback from both Republicans and Democrats.
That's what's insane, is the fact that you legitimize something that they said. Like, no, the White House isn't actually saying this. And then you're like, but what they did say here was insane. Democrats really are useless. And, I've come to the conclusion, we need to get behind AOC. She's the only one with, the messaging and the charisma to be able to get on, TikTok and Instagram and shit like that. There's nobody else on the Democratic side that you can fucking coalesce around. The Senate had a debate about the current oligarchy in the country. I'm going to give you the two different sides of the debate. First, the independent senator from Vermont. And second, the Republican senator from Louisiana. Here is one, Mr. Bernie Sanders.
President?
The senator from Vermont.
Are we in a quorum call here?
We are not.
Okay. Mr. President, we are living in a extremely dangerous time. And future generations will look back at this moment, what we do right now, and remember whether we had the courage to defend our democracy against the growing threats of oligarchy and authoritarianism. They will remember whether we stood with President Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, who in 1863, looking out—
Damn, this poor dude ignited the biggest populist movement in probably the history of the country, at least in the last century. And the backlash to his movement is what caused the acceleration into fascism. Fucking wow.
Out over a battlefield where thousands of people had died, thousands of soldiers died in the fight against slavery. And he stated that, quote, "This nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that a government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." Do we stand with Lincoln's vision?
And that is why I think electoral politics works.
Or do we sit idly by?
Look how scared Bernie Sanders made them.
This country to move into a new vision, and that is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, for the billionaire class. But it is not just oligarchy that we should be concerned about. Not just the reality that today 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, 170 million. 3 people, more wealth than the bottom 170 million Americans. It is not just that the gap between the very, very rich and everyone else is growing wider. And it is not just that we have more income and wealth inequality today than we have ever had. On top of all of that, the reality is that today we are moving—
Nope, the fuck out straight to fascism. It really did.
Toward authoritarianism.
I didn't think it was going to happen this fast.
More power resting in fewer and fewer hands. Mr. President, as we speak right now, Elon Musk, the wealthiest man on the planet, is attempting to dismantle major agencies of the federal government which are designed to protect the needs of working families and the disadvantaged.
Yeah, you can tell what their game is just by the agencies they went after.
Created by the U.S.
Back, welcome in.
And it is Congress's responsibility to maintain them, to reform them, or to end them. It is not Mr. Musk's responsibility. What Mr. Musk is doing is patently illegal and unconstitutional and must be ended. Mr. President, 2 weeks ago, President Trump attempted to suspend all federal grants and loans. An outrageous and clearly unconstitutional—
I'm not high enough for this shit.
And as I hope every 6th grader, every kid in the 6th grade in this country knows, under the Constitution and our form of government, the president can recommend legislation, he can support legislation, he can veto legislation, but he does not have the power to unilaterally terminate funding passed by the Congress. It is Congress, the House and the Senate, who control the purse strings. But in this move toward—
There's a Schoolhouse Rock song about it.
It is not just the Congress that is being attacked. It is our judiciary, This weekend, the Vice President of the United States, a graduate of Yale Law School, who clerked for a Supreme Court justice, said that, and I quote,
"What does that say about Yale?
Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power," end quote. Really? I thought that one of the major functions of the federal courts is to interpret our Constitution and, when appropriate,
We need a new schoolhouse rock
on the unconstitutional power of the executive. That's not just what I believe. That is what I suspect every legal scholar and lawyer in America understands to be the case. Further, Mr. Musk, meanwhile,
toxic wild hog,
proposed, and I quote, that the work.
Casey is here for the sexual themes. You earned yourself a titty slap.
A titty slap! Give me those titties,
Come on now.
Give me those titties, huh? Did that satisfy your craving? Yeah, thank you. That earned me a freaking follow from Casey. What up, toxic wild hog? I think you should totally run. At this point in time, I've always thought that I would never run for office, but fuck, who gives a shit now? Like my arrest for pot when I was 18 or 19, like that's nothing anymore. Steve, good evening. Yeah, Bernie is going off on Elon and the rest of the oligarchy.
1% of appointed judges be fired every year, end quote. And he demanded the impeachment of judges that have blocked him from accessing sensitive Treasury Department files.
I think you should run. I think I should light one up and tip one back.
Under Mr. Musk's rule, it will be him and his billionaire friends who determine who the worst judges are. And
that's exactly right, Toxic.
I must tell you, you don't impeach judges who rule against you here in the United States. You may or may not know this, Mr. Musk, but under the U.S. Constitution, we have a separation of powers, brilliantly crafted by the founding fathers of this country.
You think Elon might be on some blow?
And it has worked pretty well throughout our country. We have an executive branch, we have a legislative branch, and we have a judiciary.
This poor man spent his life in politics, and at 90 years old has to get up in front of the Senate and explain how the goddamn government works to people. It's possible people in the Senate, I'm looking at you, Tuberville Johnson, don't even know what he's talking about. I guarantee there's at least 40, 50, 60 representatives that don't fucking know this shit.
Mr. President, what we are seeing now is not just an organized attack on the power of the Congress and the responsibility of the judiciary. Mr. Trump and his friends are not just trying to undermine two of the three pillars of our constitutional government, Congress and the courts, they are also going after the media in a way that we have never seen in the modern history of this country.
I don't think Elon's on coke. I think he's on speed. He's not on coke.
Will tell you that the people working in the media and media organizations are not perfect. We have all had our experiences with the media.
He's on that ADD med
like
shit.
Everything else makes mistakes every day. But I do hope that every member of Congress understands that you cannot have a functioning democracy.
Adderall or one of those other ones. There's one that starts with an O. He does love ketamine.
You cannot have the pursuit of truth without an independent press. A press not intimidated
Well, for this moment in time, well, I still have freedom of speech. If the fascism really is moving in, what is this show going to look like in a year or two? Because I'm still going to be here like, fuck you, Trump, fuck Elon, fuck all of them. We're here to kick authority in the balls, even if you get completely authoritarian.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
But I'm fair. I want to hear the other side. Senator representing the Republican viewpoint on the topic of oligarchy. Coming to us from Louisiana. He even brought visual aids. Let me give you a content warning for this man. Senator Kennedy needs your cock.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
What a build-up.
President, I don't know if you remember it, but I do. When families in the evening would gather around a single radio, they just had one radio in the house, or a single TV, often a black and white TV.
You were old as shit.
The evening news. And for many Americans, particularly in rural areas, public broadcasting.
Listen, brother, I'm old.
That was true in some parts of our country. They could only access public broadcasting to get up-to-date news and information. Those days are gone. Things are much different today. Today, Americans get their news everywhere. Everywhere. Websites, podcasts, social media posts.
Not necessarily a good thing.
Cable TV, streaming, broadcast television.
Sorry, Toxic. It's
particularly the world of mass communication.
He's given me so many fucking great clips over the years. I'm sorry I always go to Kennedy, because he's going to say something hilarious. He might not have a point, but he's going to say something fucking stupid.
I think back.
He's very disingenuous.
10, 15 years ago, in my state, Louisiana, newspapers were king, followed closely by local television stations. Newspapers led with the news, and everybody else followed in terms of what was newsworthy. Boy, those days changed. I polled recently in Louisiana to find out where my people in Louisiana get their news. 4%. 4% of the
I was being facetious when I was injured. Like, let's see what he has to say.
That's just a fact. Number one, as you might imagine, is the internet. The world has changed.
Yeah, but you don't even understand. You don't even understand the minutia that, like, people are not just getting their news from the internet, but they're being highly curated by social media sites. Like, the internet doesn't exist the way it existed 10, 15 years ago. Like, it's not a place where you cruise around and they used to cruise the internet. That was literally lingo. Now you're just having the internet curated for you through 3 or 4 different sites. It's kind of bad that way. We should probably try to fix that.
This trend is not partisan. It's not a Republican thing or it's not a Democratic thing. President Trump and former Vice President Harris, they both did popular podcasts in their election. And many of my fellow senators and many of my friends in the House running for election also did podcasts as well.
Some of them have podcasts.
They've even called the 2024 race the podcast election.
Or surfing.
No American today, not one that
10-11, good evening,
is dependent on a single source of news to remain informed. And that's a good thing. It might have made sense many, many, many years ago for the federal government to subsidize and fund public broadcasting. 50 years ago, that might have made sense. But the ability of the American people today to access whatever news they would like to hear from whatever form.
NPR gets so, because they've got NPR up right now. NPR, PBS get so little fucking money from the government. I don't think they'd care if you cut it at this point. They've had their funding cut over and over and over again throughout my lifetime. So go, like, it's seriously, the government's 2-3% of their budget at this point.
Form of media they choose is no longer limited. It's virtually unlimited to the just only by the imagination.
His writing is nowhere near as clever as Sorkin's.
Question, Mr. President, and something that we need to think
Come on, my
about.
lord.
If all this is true, if media has changed, and it's accessible to everyone, why is the United States Congress
stupid?
Why is the United States Congress still spending $500 million a year, not $500,000 a year, $500 million a year to fund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting? It makes no sense.
Because that's the public thing, you know. It's not public if
public broadcasting.
you're not
We call it
funding it.
CPB, Mr. President, as you know. It's a nonprofit entity that takes taxpayer money that it gets from Congress and distributes it to local TV and radio stations. Now, you might not have heard of CPB.
And NPR does some great
But
work.
you've probably heard of two of its, I won't call them subsidiaries, but two of its closely affiliated entities, I'll call them. The Public Broadcasting Station, we call it PBS, and National Public Radio, NPR.
They do an excellent job, both of them.
Every year, Congress gives the Corporation for Public Broadcasting $500 million. And the Corporation for Public Broadcasting takes that money and gives it to a lot of the local
Congress is not well.
stations.
10-11.
And a lot of those local TV and radio stations are encouraged to, and indeed do,
Local reporting.
programming if they're radio stations from NPR, or if they're television stations, they buy a pre-recorded, pre-developed programming from the PBS. Congress established this system and established.
Yeah, he's boring me this time.
Public broadcasting.
Usually he has something hilarious, and probably if we kept watching it, he would say something fucking funny. He gave me this gem.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
I have a, if you were to go to my TikTok, I would, let's do it. Let's do it. I probably didn't do that right. JustinFREAKIN Bieber. What the fuck? Where's my TikTok? Hold on. I guess it's probably in the stream, isn't it? God. I wonder how many like videos I've actually made that involve Senator Kennedy. I bet it's a lot. First of all, there was one that's my third video back was Senator Kennedy. So I've done a lot. I've gotten a lot of content out of him. See here. Been a lot of Joni Ernst lately. I kind of figured it would already have another Senator Kennedy clip. Playfair, good evening. Actually surprised. I thought there was going to be more Senator Kennedy. There are plenty of community guidelines violations on my TikTok. I thought there was going to be more Senator. Some of these could be Senator Kennedy, to be fair. These community guidelines violations. There's Senator Tuberville. There's Senator Kennedy. Senator Kennedy reads explicit book to Senate. Man, I've got a lot of community guidelines violations of videos that exist elsewhere, but can't exist on TikTok, apparently. I like that Rudy Giuliani is a boob god made it, though. Transcript from the lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani. Come here, big tits. Your tits belong to me. Give them to me. I want to claim my tits. So this is something I did just for the TikTok. You didn't get this watching the live show. This is why you should follow me on all the social media, because I might do something crazy, like put a mouth on Rudy Giuliani. I want to claim my tits. These are my tits. These breasts belong to me. Understand, I'm very fucking possessive. Yeah, I need a little time alone with my girlfriend here. That's right. With my daughter. That's right. With my little girl. What? Even if I think about how smart you are, I'll get hard. If you told me a girl was smart, I would often think she's not attractive. Other transcripts,
you live in sexual anarchy.
You, calling her my bitch. You're my whore. You're my fucking slut. Of course, fantasizing about her as his little girl.
Do you think we're stupid? You think
Damn, Rudy. Oh, sir, that's the least. Anyway, yeah, follow me on social media. I'm JustinFREAKIN on everything. We watched the whole Trump-Elon thing at the top of the show. And it was painful. A taco truck in Memphis. Hack, that's a great question. Yes, I probably am JustinFREAKIN on MySpace, just because I've been JustinFREAKIN for that fucking long. Oh, don't play fair. I had to ban the word woke because Bagheera kept using it all the time. Sorry about that. Sorry. He's doing it for real because he's a right-wing chud.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
I don't think there should be a weed or a porn industry, but if we're going to have an industry run things, yes, Minty. I'm JustinFREAKIN on Pornhub. I'm JustinFREAKIN on OnlyFans. I'm Mr. JustinFREAKIN on Twitter just because it's like I had to be. Somebody amazingly enough got my name before I could, and they have not posted shit ever. The account is completely inactive since like 2009. I should be JustinFucking on Pornhub. Oh my God, Minty. Fuck, you just changed the game. I'm JustinFREAKIN on Pornhub. I don't think I'm on Soundbox. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on Reverb Nation. I'm not on Soundbox. Soup, good evening. Welcome in, you gorgeous man. Somebody should shout out Soup for me. Quesadilla, good evening, my friend. Hit a content warning before this next story. It might upset you. There's nothing graphic or anything, but it might be upsetting to some people. We're going to Memphis where several food truck workers were taken by federal agents. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't identify themselves.
Topping our headlines on your news leader at 4, a recent ICE raid at a popular local food truck in Corcova has a lot of people talking. The owner says several employees were taken away. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Coleman.
And I'm April Thompson. WRG's Jessica Knox spoke with customers of Taco and Ganas and has their reaction.
The Taco Ngana's location here on North Germantown Parkway is back open for business after a viral video shows several employees being taken by federal agents yesterday. There are still a lot of questions, but those in the community are in disbelief.
Make me really sad because the people, they working hard. It looks like a kidnapping.
According to the owner of the popular taco truck, it happened early Monday morning. The company's surveillance video shows 3 employees' phones being taken out of their hands, and then they're forced out of the truck by 4 men dressed in street clothes and face coverings. The owner says the men who entered the truck did not have badges or ID. Miguel Valdez is an activist for the Hispanic community.
Bullshit.
He says the video is very hard to watch.
They said they would get only the people with criminal record, but they are behind workers. You saw that people, you could see the fear in their eyes. The guy on the middle, the guy that was wearing glasses, he was like, they're working.
A statement from Memphis Mayor Paul Young confirms the employees were detained by federal agents with Homeland Security.
Thank you for the resub. Welcome in.
Scary, and of course my people is in shock like me.
Tuesday, workers can be seen preparing the truck for business as usual. We tried talking to employees, but they declined to speak at this time. Those in the community believe the employees' rights were violated and change needs to happen.
If someone is knocking at your door, do not open the door. Ask, who are you? What do you want?
There is a whole website dedicated on the ACLU's website. There's a whole list, a checklist of things that you need to know if you have people in your immediate vicinity that you think might be targeted. I encourage you to go check out the ACLU's checklist.
Or just say nothing. You have the right to remain silent.
Are you fearful for your family, your friends?
Of course,
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I hope America's change because this is not right.
Reporting for
that poor dude
in Cordova, I'm Jessica Noss, WREG News, Channel 3.
Breaking my heart. Would you like to see the full video? I have it. This is the dude just walking up. You can see he's got a that's not a face mask, that's got a name. Like hunters wear them. Gators? Yeah. Soup. Took me a little bit there.
Oh, right there. No, just run. Just run. I'll let you fall in there. We're not going back in here, okay? I'm not doing that.
Yeah, they just busted in, no warrant.
You can do it in a minute, okay? Yeah. I'm not doing that here, okay? Nope, we're not doing that.
And the idea that federal agents are doing this in plain clothes, not being accompanied by cops, this should worry us.
3.
There are several places in America that you would get shot doing that shit. I'm honestly amazed more cops don't get shot in this country. But if you're a migrant just under the radar, working hard, you're probably not packing.
I'll turn it off. Yeah.
You pull up on some redneck with a fucking food truck, though.
Hey, come back over here. Yeah, I want it. Yeah. We have 30
Honestly, they came and they pulled everybody out. I'm sad that the workers didn't say no and demand that, like, you could have called the cops on these motherfuckers. You know, DJ Dub might be right. They might be trying to find something that they can use as evidence against them that they're criminals. At least they turned off the stovetop. Maybe they turned it on, actually. Who knows? I can tell by that dude's face I do not like him. He is a piece of shit. This is insane.
Mikey.
We need a hero. I'm not one to advocate violence. You know me, like I'm an institutionalist, I'm a shit lib. But maybe we've come to that point, 'cause fuck. Alien, good evening. Advocate for it for me. Maybe we need a hero. I can't believe it was such a short video. I had to wait for all that. Critically thinking veteran, what's up?
Accused killer Luigi Mangione has accepted more than $300,000 from supporters to aid in his defense. Now, that's according to the online fundraising site Give, Send, Go. An organizer from the fund says the site has raised more than $325,000 as of Tuesday morning. Mangione is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in New York in December. Because of federal charges against him, he could face the death penalty.
I don't know that you're going to be able to even convict him. Do you hop in my Discord, my friend? Oh, shit.
Now it is.
Good evening. Welcome. Vet, are you with me? Oh, I'm muted over here. Vet, you with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. What's up?
Okay, cool. What's going on?
You tell me, man. I happened to pop up Twitch, see you're streaming in the Discord section. I'm streaming in the Discord section. You said you want to argue with some motherfuckers, so I'm like, hey, this motherfucker wants to argue. So what's good, JustinFREAKIN? You ready to argue or what?
Ooh, hell yeah! What you want to argue about, motherfucker? I love your style.
Dude, I don't fucking know. What side of the aisle are you on? Let's start there.
I'm on whatever side of the aisle allows me to piss in Dan Crenshaw's eye pussy.
Jeez, man, I don't know. Fuck. That's a crazy one. I don't know.
I think it's the leftist side right now. That's where I've landed so far.
Okay, well, I'm a constitutional conservative. Okay, so we'll kind of wrap it up that way.
So what does that mean to you?
The U.S. Constitution and limited government.
Cool. I love the Constitution, man. Fourth and Fifth Amendment, that's my jam. That's why I'm very anti-cop.
Well, I mean, you gotta have somebody enforce the law, right?
Oh, so you're like, I love the Constitution until it comes to, cops violating citizens' rights. You're all about that, eh?
No, I'm all about the the everyday citizen having a way to be able to recourse their grievances with fellow citizens and without having to be directly involved.
Without having to be directly involved. That's
Right. So the cop goes, hey, this person assaulted me. The cop goes and collects the person. I don't have to go collect the person and take them to a holding facility in order to punish them for the crime of assault.
But you don't have to take them to the holding facility, but you will have to testify against them as evidence. That's what was tripping me up there.
Right. But that's the whole reason for the government is there's not a my posse's holding your, like this. We got rid, away from the whole Hatfields and McCoy situation, right?
That's literally where I'm from.
Well, I mean, so then you should be able to very easily understand the need for government in there, so you don't end up with.
Oh, I totally get the need for government. I'm a leftist.
Right. But so as a leftist, you want government, but you want complete control, and you don't want to allow the individual any type of autonomy.
No, I'm very much about protecting individual rights. We need a strong government with a strong constitution that protects individual liberty.
So how's that leftist?
How is that not leftist? Well, to me, the threat to my individual liberty is corporations, so therefore collective action in the face of corporate. We're seeing Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, take over the government right now. We live in an oligarchy.
You think so?
The richest man in the world just gave a press conference from the Oval Office.
Yeah, but he wasn't sitting behind the Resolute desk, was he?
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
He was behind the desk. He was right there next to Trump. He gave the press conference. We just watched it.
Yeah.
And he paid $300 million to get Trump elected. Peter Thiel also paid hundreds of millions of dollars to get Trump elected. How is that not oligarchy? And not that the Democrats are not guilty of it as well. The Democrats are flush with corporate money as well. This is a both sides fucking thing. But the Republicans literally are bought and paid for by Elon Musk. He's coming in. He's destroying anything that helps people. And he's trying to rob our treasury to enrich himself. That's oligarchy, right?
Well, none of the actions or the things that Elon is pointing out have any kind of action behind it. He's literally just only pointing out what they're discovering. Right?
No. People are not allowed in their fucking building to go to work. Contracts have been paused. Systems have been unable to be accessed. Mm-hmm. There's several states that can't access their Medicaid payments.
Done through Elon.
You what?
It's literally done by Trump. It's not done by Elon.
No, it's been done by Elon.
No.
And his Doge team.
Yeah, but they make recommendations to the actual person that makes the decision, which is Trump.
And you think Trump is not a dumb fuck and he knows anything about any of this shit?
I think he knows enough to understand that whenever you're sending $24 million to some South American country for a transgender comic book,
holy shit, dude. It was fucking $20,000 or $30,000 and it was about sexual assault. But because it had a transgender character or something, you guys make issues that aren't issues, right? And that's an exercise in soft power. If the U.S. is going to do anything in the world, I would rather it be distributing condoms to places that have AIDS and teaching. One of the things that they gave money for was economic development in Egypt, because it was a place that had suffered from hardcore discrimination against women in the workplace. So they were trying to help them diversify the workplace.
Well, why would you want to send condoms to a place in the world that is ridden with HIV? AIDS? Yeah, why? I don't understand, because clearly they weren't practicing safe sex before.
Because they don't have access to condoms.
Right, so they weren't practicing safe sex before, and now it's there all over the place. When's the last time you looked at, you realize that 47%, 48% of the African continent has it, right? So when did it become?
Why is that an argument against condoms?
When did it become the responsibility of when did African penises on the African continent become the responsibility of American taxpayers?
Well, we have robbed them of a lot of their resources over the years.
I ain't done shit to Africa, and as a matter of fact,
The country of the United States has. The entire Western world is built off of the blood of Africans.
Are you really?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's literally not that way.
Brother, where do you think like medical advancements come from? And this shit we find in the rainforest. No, I'm not hanging up on him. No, guys, you don't get to cut me off that fast. Do you really not understand how interconnected we are as a society? But this is not exactly what I want to talk about anyway. I've stumped you on that one. Let's go back to, you say you're a constitutional Republican, but it is clear or constitutional conservative. It is clear that you aren't giving a shit about the Constitution when it comes to Trump overstepping his bounds. What about them saying that they want to impeach they have literally filed articles of impeachment against a judge that ruled against them. How is that upholding the Constitution?
Exactly. What is your argument for the Constitution being shit on, right? Government agencies being shut down is the purview spelled out exactly in the Constitution.
Where? What article?
The authority of the executive.
Oh, whoa. A judge ruling against the executive branch. That's literally the check against the executive branch.
What's the job of
a court order?
What's the job of the executive?
To enforce the laws and to act as a foreign dignitary.
Let's read it.
Read what?
The article where it spells out.
Well, I'm saying like the judicial branch is the check on Congress and the presidency. And you just heard the vice president say that we should abolish any judges that disagree with Trump. And they have filed articles of impeachment against the judge that ruled against Trump.
I'm absolutely for judges that are just putting in shit to just slow the process down, that don't ever actually do anything, be fucking replaced, and they actually get on board with actually working within.
Brother, you don't give a shit about the Constitution.
Wrong.
How are you giving? The Constitution lays out the checks and balances, that the judicial branch is the check on the president from them being able to exceed their powers. You're not abreast of what the Constitution says, or you don't give a shit, one or the other.
I really think that you just have a very narrow.
I think you're a dumbass.
View of this thing. Well, you can think whatever you like.
How do I have a narrow view of what the Constitution literally says?
Because you're not understanding any part of the system. The reason why these judges need to be replaced is because they're only doing things.
You don't get to replace a judge because they don't rule the way you like. That's not how this works. That's the Constitution, you dipshit.
You dipshit. Is that all you got?
I'm mocking you for not knowing how anything works. You come on here and tell me you're a constitutional conservative, but you don't fucking follow the Constitution.
What the system is supposed to be doing, because you've been locked into the way it's been running without doing any actual research into the way that it has run. And
what are you talking about? Motherfucker, I guarantee you I know more about history than you do.
Don't understand anything about government money or anything, and you want to sit here and bitch about USAID being found out about all the corruption.
Hold on.
All the money that's being fucking wasted.
Calm down. Calm down.
All of the millions of dollars have been being extracted.
Calm the fuck down, brother.
To pay for this thing.
Calm the fuck down.
Here and say all of
this is you throwing a tantrum because I just made you look like a fucking fool. So you're trying to gish gallop now. Go back.
You know, it's cute whenever people on the left think they know something when it's clear.
Brother, I know this shit because this has been my life. I have a degree in political philosophy. I have studied history. I've studied politics. I have covered politics for over 20 years in the news media. You don't know shit. Once again, let's go back. Let's go back.
What have you done?
You can't replace a judge just because you don't like the way they ruled. That's against the Constitution.
What have you done?
I've exposed you as being a dumb fuck.
You haven't
Come
done
the fuck back,
all
brother.
in your life.
I haven't what?
You have done fuck all in your life.
Brother, we're talking about you and the
You've
Constitution.
done nothing with your life, and then you want to sit here.
This is what right-wingers always do, man.
I'm a badass because I'm.
You can't focus on a topic. You can't back up what you say. Does the Constitution not say that the judicial branch is the check on the executive branch?
What does the Constitution say with regard to the state?
Can you answer my question?
Why don't you try to get more nuanced into actually how the system works?
Okay, what do you mean by that? What you're saying is, I'm not agreeing with your dipshit way of looking at things because you're misinformed and don't know how the things work.
Points, and you've just been following the news and listening right along, and you don't actually have any fucking arguments because you haven't actually studied a fucking.
Brother, I just made you look like a dumb fuck. What argument do you have? Change the topic to something you think you can win on.
But you haven't said a fucking thing.
I proved that you don't follow the Constitution.
It's really just been just an exercise of patience. You haven't actually done anything. You've been posing questions that you don't know the answers to yourself, and then you want to then say, oh, you don't know a fucking thing, and then keep driving that nail home because you're a fucking moron. And you're the one that started the insult game. Just to be clear, go back and watch the fucking VOD, right?
Yes, I called you a dumb fuck after I proved that you were a dumb fuck.
Patience that I'm really just done with now. Have a nice night.
Did I make you cry? Oh my god. That was fantastic. Who tried to cut me off during that? Cutting me off is for like when we've been going like 30, 40, 50 minutes and it's over. That was amazing. But does he have a channel? It was M Lord. Did he say he streamed? Oh my god. Learn to feel embarrassment, my friend. It would save the rest of us a lot of time. Of course they left. I am tired of these goddamn idiots saying they follow the Constitution. They've never even read the fucking Constitution. I have no idea, Flash. I thought like the name sounded vaguely familiar. Well, I'm sorry, critical thinking veteran. You're fucking stupid, and I'm sorry you're fucking stupid. Oh, he did say something about streaming in, he said streaming in Discord. I didn't exactly know what he meant, but, seriously, like, blows my mind. I don't understand how right-wingers think. And then to throw that tantrum on me, to be so clear right there, like gave him an example of how he's not following the Constitution. And then he went on a tirade. That was beautiful. And he came at the perfect time, too, because, like, I was getting ready to wrap it up. Like I was one of those people in Africa that needed a condom. Oh! Well, I'm going to listen to some music for an hour or two with you guys. I'll stay on Twitch. But I want to make sure everybody knows about this. If you have a chipped animal, you might need to get them re-chipped. A company that produced chips, another reason why fucking capitalism blows. This company had went out of business out of nowhere, and now the chips are useless.
Many pet owners say they don't know who owns the microchip company for their four-legged friend, including myself, who owns 2 dogs. But after a microchip company closed its doors, many pet owners say they're double-checking where the chip was registered.
something that I'll probably go home and check and make sure that she is still secured and, you know, tracked.
Rachel Johnson wants to make sure her dog, Olivia, is properly registered.
It's scary because you hope that you're doing the right thing for your dog and that they're microchipped and it's not something you should have to manage, that it's just sort of you did it once and now they're safe.
She and other dog owners had no clue a company called Save This Life discontinued its services.
Now that I'm aware of it, I'm probably going to go home and look at it to see if it's my company or if it's some company that owns all the other companies, and then if it happens to something happens to him, God forbid not, if that's going to affect me trying to find out where he's at, of course that's concerning.
Concerning for Stefan DeGraff and veterinarians like Merrick Animal Hospital in Brookfield, who posted to their Facebook page that the company they trusted for 13 years unexpectedly shut down. The hospital says Save This Life also delinked all microchip registrations from their universal microchip lookup tool that all animal care professionals use to find a lost pet's information when they are scanned. We reached out to the business to see what owners should do and where their dog's data is, but no one returned our calls or emails. Paws Chicago says if you're unsure this is your company, take your animal to a place where they can scan the chip, like a police station or a veterinarian.
The important thing to do is to get that number, to have somebody scan it. And again, it's your vet or it's a shelter that can do that scan for you if you don't already have the number, and then to log in and make sure to update the information.
Paws Chicago CEO Susanna
Look at that puppy.
Microchipped 10,000 dogs and cats last year outside of their adoption program.
There's a surprising number of pets that we see that don't have a microchip, and people don't realize, I think, how common that is, and people don't really think about it until their pet is lost.
I mean, there's so many other things that dogs need to be maintained, so all the vaccines and all the other, anti-flea, anti-heartworm stuff, but the microchip is not a thing that I consider as like in a routine for dog maintenance.
Your routine for dog maintenance. I know about pet maintenance. I got two licking their balls over here on the bed.
Dog. Pooch. Dog. 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 Pooch. Dog.
We're playing dog, pooch.
Dog. 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 Pooch. Dog. 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 Pooch. Dog. 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 Dog.
I love it.
Dog.
We've watched this like 5 times already.
Dog. Pooch. Dog. 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 Pooch. Dog.
Yeah, he's cheating. Dog. They're already strapped in.
Dog. Dog.
If you're watching on YouTube or the podcast, go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.
Dog. Pooch.
Yes, let's smoke some weed. Let me get some music going and stuff.
Dog. Dog. Dog.